Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at Spacy and we're going to try and build a very basic text pre-processing pipeline. Now, the idea behind text pre-processing is to take raw text that you've gathered from any number of sources online. Now this is raw text, it's unstructured data, and you want to convert that raw text into a more structured representation that might be suitable for machine learning or natural language processing, text analytics, statistical inference, any number of things, even text generation. In order to do any of those tasks, you need to first perform some pre-processing on the text, and that's what we're going to look at here, some very basic pre-processing steps. Now, we've basically broken it down into 4 tasks. The first task, we're going to lowercase the text, and that's obviously we don't want to distinguish between 2 words that are the same if one of them has a capital letter or not. We're then going to look at removing punctuation and white space. Stop word removal, so we want to remove words like and the and of, because those words aren't useful for any sort of tasks because they're too common, they don't really have any real meaning. And then we're going to look at lemmatization, which was discussed in a recent video, where we want to take various forms of words and bring it down to a root form. So for example, we want to take words like using and just break that down into the root form, which might be use for that word. So Spacy has its own built-in tokenizer. That's important to know. When you do spacy.load, it runs through a pipeline of operations. One of those is tokenization. It splits the raw text that you pass to the NLP object. It splits that into tokens, and one of the things it does is it removes punctuation into its own token. So that's why on the token object you have an isPunct attribute. We're going to see that in a second. So if we just go down here, just one thing, the order of these operations is important. You want to remove the stop words only after you've taken care of punctuation. Now, it's not a big concern in Spacy because the tokenization, the punctuation sort of split out into its own tokens anyway. But if you had the word and with a comma, well, that in itself is not a stop word, it's just the word and that's a stop word. So you would need to remove the comma first before it would identify the word and as a stop word. So we've got some text that's been gathered from the BBC, and we're reading that text into an NLP language model, the language model we created in the first cell, and that creates a Spacy document as always. And now we're going to perform some analysis of that document. Now, one of the things you can do, and I'm just going to copy and paste this, this is something that's available on the NLP document. It's got a defaults attribute, and one of the attributes on that is the stop words attribute, and that can give you a list of all the stop words that Spacy tries to identify. And you can see words like the, there, them, very common words, they don't really have meaning. So that's one way you can look at the stop words, just out of interest. Okay, on to the real task here, the pre-processing pipeline. We're going to create a Python function called normalize, which will take in a Spacy document as a parameter, and that's going to be called text. And then what we want to do at the end is return some normalized text, and I'm going to create an empty list called norm text here. And then we want to iterate over each token in the Spacy document. So this is key to what I was saying earlier. The doc object in Spacy, when you create that document, it will perform tokenization for you, and it will split out certain things into their own tokens. And what we want to do is loop over those tokens. Now, here's the key step. What we want to say is we want to get tokens that are not punctuation for a start. So if not token.isPunct, we also want to get tokens that are not stop words. So we'll say and not token.isStop. And finally, there's another attribute on the Spacy token object, and that's called 𝗦𝗦. So we don't want tokens that are just consisting of white space, because, well, they're not really useful to any model. So we have 3 conditions here, and we're looking at each token, and we're saying if it's not punctuation, if it's not a stop word, and if it's not a space or a white space character, then we can go on. We want to add that to the norm text, but we also want to do a few other things. So I'll say norm text.append token. If we make it into this block, then we know we've got a token that we're interested in, but we don't want the raw token, we want the lemma. So we want to take words like going and just break them down to the root form, which is go. And we also want to do that lowercase folding that we mentioned before. If I can type that, that's it there. So that line there will add the, I've just made a mistake here, just quickly fix that. This line here will add the token that we've identified to the norm text list, which is up here. And at the end of this function, once we've iterated over all of these tokens, we can join up the list, join up all the tokens that are in the list, and we can return them. So that will do that. And then we'll just do a test of this function. So normalized text equals normalize, and we can pass in the NLP document that we got up here, and that gives us an error. So token underscore is space, that should be token dot is space, and then in the cell below that we can then look at what's been returned from that function. And we see that we've still got many of the words, but some things have been changed. We have World Health Organization say close contact. Let me just compare that to the document. I'll just print a line in between these, and we'll print the first 50 characters of each. Okay. So the original text had the World Health Organization, WHO, has said, but the normalized version of the text gets rid of the. It just has World Health Organization say. So said has been reduced to say. The word has been removed. That's because it's a stop word. So these words, it is in, they're all gone from this text. Close contact, you can see the punctuation has been removed. The word with here is gone from this part, and everything has been lowercased as we want. So you can see the effect of the pre-processing pipeline here. We've lowercased, we've removed punctuation and white space, we have removed stop words, and finally we've lemmatized all these words so that words like said have been reduced to the root form say. So that's all for this video. This is a very quick video on, or a very basic video on text pre-processing and normalization. There's actually a lot more you can do. It depends on your task, but this is a very important thing to understand. It's a key step in natural language processing. You take your raw text, which is unstructured, and you run it over a pipeline of tasks, which breaks it down into a more usable format. Okay, thank you for watching. See you later.